Hi everybody, it's time for day 6 of December daily ornaments. Today I am making a garland for the Christmas tree. I am using this craft felt roll in red that I got at the dollar store for $2. I bought 2 rolls, but I ended up only needing 1. So it really depends on how close you want each piece together, which you'll see once I start making it. And it also depends on how close you want your rows of garland on the tree and how big your tree is. But for me, I would make a part, like a big long string of it, and put it on the tree, and then make another one, put it on the tree, so I could see how much I was needing. So this was inspired by, well, I had the idea in my head, and then I saw this at Michael's, and it was like almost exactly what I wanted. So I took a picture of it, and what I made is not exactly like it. Excuse me, I'm having problems with my voice today. I like the garland that was at Michael's. It was really close together, and I can't remember how much it cost, but they had a sale for, I think it was 60% off, and with that sale, I think it was somewhere around $15, and that was the sale price for one piece of garland, and I probably would have needed, gosh, I don't know, 6 or so in order to do my tree, so I was not going to pay that. So I'm taking this roll of red felt and I'm cutting it in 1-inch strips. I'm using a self-healing cutting mat and a rotary cutter. This one I just got at the dollar store. So I'm thinking if you had a good one, like an actual, like a quilter or somebody who actually does a lot of sewing and fabric and stuff, if you had a good one like they own, maybe it would be better. But mine, it did pretty darn good, and my husband had no problem with it because he had to take over. Like, I had close to it all done, but my fingers were hurting so bad, and even after he took over, my fingers were still hurting for the rest of the night. I have weak hands, and it was a bit much. Just that action of holding down the ruler firmly. My right hand was fine, the one that was doing the cutting, but the one that was holding the ruler was in pain. So he was kind enough to take over and cut the rest of the strips for me. And he could do it with one swipe. So I'm guessing he was adding a lot more pressure than I did. So for the prep of the felt, that is all I do is I roll it out and I use the grid on the self-healing mat because the large squares, they are 1 inch, and that works out great. And I just butt up the steel end of the Tim Holtz ruler up against the rotary blade, and I make the cuts at every 1 inch. Here I'm just playing with the idea of how exactly I'm going to put this together. Like I didn't want it to be just one straight strip of felt. Like, to me, that would just look silly. So I wanted to have like a little bend, almost, not quite, but almost like a bow effect, how in the middle it's pinched together. So I am just taking this white cotton thread and I thread my needle and I just put the needle, I go in, out, like accordion, like, you know, if you would fold your paper in accordion style. I did that with the needle. And the longer your string, the more fun you're going to have pulling it through. That's why I didn't do just one huge garland. I did many garlands. But I put it through once, and as you can see, it's not going to stay pinched. So I wrap it around and go through it again. Well, this one I didn't, but the first one I was just learning. But after this one, I go through once, like the accordion style. I go through and then bring the needle underneath and go through the exact same way again. Like, I don't go backwards. I go in through once, bring the needle down under I'll just call it a bow, and then go back through exactly the same way I did it the first time. And this keeps it pinched and it keeps the felt in place, because if you didn't do this, also the felt could move along the string, and I wanted it to stay exactly where it was. And you can decide how far apart you want your pieces of felt. I didn't measure mine, I just eyeballed it. And once I did a few for the camera, I just took my pile and my thread and I sat down in front of my computer and watched some Christmas shows on Netflix. And the time just went by, and next thing I know, it's 2 a.m. and I'm like, I have to go to bed. And I still didn't have them finished. I have one left to make today, because it was last night I was doing it. So yeah, it's a little time consuming. I thought about doing it on the sewing machine, but I wanted to use a thicker thread, and I didn't even bother trying, to be honest. It wasn't annoying. Like, if I was just standing there at the island and doing it, yeah, that would have drove me crazy. But just sitting down, getting comfy, and watching some Christmas shows, it was just something for my hands to do. So I didn't mind it at all. And honestly, it didn't curl up this bad after. I don't know if because right now this is still attached to the big roll. Because when I sat down, I mean, there was a few times it got tangled, but the thread did not curl up like it is here in this part of the video. And this one was probably my longest strand as well. So you'll see here I'm going in and then leaving space, coming up, and then going down again and up. And that helps if once you get it on the needle, you pinch it and then you leave it pinched. So keep your fingers there and leave it pinched. get it where you want it on the string. And I didn't listen. So you can see here, I'm going to try maybe and get it pinched again. It's a lot, no, I don't, but it's a lot easier if you leave it pinched, and then you can just go through all of the layers instead of having to go in, out again. Not that it's hard to do it this way either, but it goes quicker if you just keep it pinched with your fingers. So you can see you get the gist of it. If you have any questions, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you can sew it on there however you want to sew it. You know, but if you do have any questions, just pop it down in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I'm usually pretty good at replying. I try not to put it off. I do have a Christmas party to attend, so if you ask a question later, then I may not get back to you until tomorrow. But otherwise, I'm usually pretty good. So that is it for today. I will have some pictures at the end of the video to show you how it turned out. So I hope you like it, and as always, I hope you do give some of these ornaments